There we go, guys. All right, guys, we are live this morning. I want to welcome all of you to Caliber Corner number 19, Preserving the Second Amendment. Where do we go from here? We've got quite a few panelists joining in with us, but before we let them introduce themselves, let's see who's hanging out in the chat right now. Let's go ahead and start over on the gun channel side. We got, man, a lot of guys are already over. This is awesome. Squib is there. Squib is here. That's good. Morning, Squib. Patrick is joining us today. We've also got yesterday's pomade is hanging out. Always good to have that. Nice strike. Rafa's out there. Rafael, how you doing, man? And if I saw that right, I think Rafael's in Oklahoma. Did I see that correct? I think so.
He's at the Tulsa Gun Show.
Yeah, that's probably where I should be right now. So actually, I should probably be in a deer stand, but won't be going out this morning. Over on the YouTube side, we've got Midnight Range TM, also known as the other Travis, or just Travis, as I like to call him. We got Grim90 hanging out with us, showing off his coffee emojis. Two Live Moo is with us. Jim Burgess is there. Jim Burgess is here. This is awesome. And Jelsma Outdoors is with us. Good morning to you too, buddy. Okay, so let's go and let the panel introduce themselves. If you guys got anything you want to plug or anything you want to share, please go ahead and do so. AWAG, we will start with you, buddy. What's up?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just giving you crap. I'm like, all right, man. What's up? What's going on?
Hello. I'm also. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my neighbor's doing some weird things outside.
Neighbors always do weird things, man.
Yeah, I'm AWAG 1000.
Hey, whoa, if you go out to rake the leaves, don't let them tackle you, okay?
Oh, God.
All right, don't end up like that.
Rand Paul syndrome here.
Yep, there you go. Just don't argue. Let them use your leaf blower, whatever, man. It's cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so, hey, talk to us about your channel, man. What's going on?
My channel is full of all kinds of wonderful goodies, mostly guns and cars. Mostly cars and guns. Occasional food, shoes, and HK slaps, or set me slaps, if you want to be technical. So yeah.
Set me slaps were first.
Yeah. Set me slaps, yeah, there you go. Hey, so talk about that C308 real quick. So when you get that C308 from Classic or from Century Arms, it is a Rolls Royce when you get it, right? That's a well-oiled, ready to run machine, right? No, why don't you tell us real quick what's going down with that, just in case anybody's in the market for one, and then we'll continue with the rest of the panel. Go ahead.
Don't buy one of these if you don't want to do work to it, because there's gonna they're like little gremlins in it. There's everything from rust to weird extractors to trigger problems to other goodies. Like occasionally you can get a even though PTR makes the barrel and receiver, you can still get like a broken one. Sometimes the welders that they use are probably a little too hot, and then right at the front trunnion it can crack.
Oh.
So luckily mine does not have any cracks in it. I have not shot it yet, and I don't plan to for a while because this thing is rough.
So here's the question I got for you real quick. Would it be worth it just to skip that and go right to a PTR 91 for about $400 more? Is it worth double the price to go buy something that's not? Because I think, in my opinion, PTR 91 would produce a higher rifle from what I've seen, from what I've read. What do you think about that? Did you investigate PTR 91s before you decide, or just are they even called PTR 91 anymore? Are they just called PTR rifles or something?
I think they're just called PTR.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, if you don't care and you just want a semi-automatic 308, go for the C308, because it is much cheaper and it will function. It's just got a little bit of gremlins in it, and that are easy to work out if you know what you're looking for. But me, being a perfectionist, bought this and I just had a cringe fit.
I sent that email to you, by the way, AWAG, so go check that out, because there's a ton of places you can get parts for.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Jim, what do you want to say, buddy? You got any videos you want to promote or anything you want to plug? What do you got to say?
I have no channel to speak of to promote, but I will promote Write Your Senator and Representatives. There's a lot of bad stuff floating around that probably doesn't have much of a chance to pass, but it's there.
Oh, no, I know. This is true. Who knows? We're going to try to pull a quick one on us, right? Yeah, like they usually do. Awesome. Oh, yeah. But Jim, thanks for joining in. I do appreciate you, man. Awesome. Nice strike. Anything you want to plug? Anything going on? Anything coming up for what's going down, man?
I'm going to promote freedom. Hashtag shall not be infringed.
There you go. Now, Nice Strike, I need to apologize in advance. I'm going to be late to Tuesday night's Hit or Miss because I have a special an invite on YouTube that I don't know how this is going to work, if it's going to be streamed live or if it's going to be pre-recorded and showed later. Can't really talk about it right now, but I can tell you it might not be showing up till it might almost be, well, no, it'll be about 8 o'clock. Yeah, I should just be coming in when you guys are getting started. So I want to give you a quick heads up on that right now.
Well, Travis, all I have to say is we may have to talk about you doing some detention.
That's fine, man. Hey, I don't leave until almost 5 o'clock anyway, so I'm there past everything. When I'm going, the cleaning people are coming in. I feel like I've done my part for the day, so I'm there from about 6:30 to 5 every day. It's an addiction. It's really bad. It's a good addiction. It's a good problem to have. That's all I'm going to say.
And if anyone doesn't get that joke, it's because Travis is a teacher.
What? Wait, when did that happen? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. And I cannot wait to hear my students sharing their deer hunting stories because firearm season officially opened up this morning. So I've got some kids that go out and do some archery, and I've been hearing stories about that so far. But it's they're out today, so I'm not, because I'm going to talk to Jim about this later on. I'm maybe looking at doing the January season. Well, it's not in my. No, we don't need to talk about that right now. But anyway, so Night Strike, hit or miss Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock, right?
Right.
Well, what can somebody expect when they come see hit or miss? What is the usual agenda for hit or miss?
Wait. You're asking if we have a usual agenda?
Well, yeah, somebody's going to go see it. Are they expecting to see, like a nice, well-oiled machine that's just going to be hammering out the information, or
hit or miss is exactly as it's named.
There you go. Smeggy 42 is always a hit. He's always a hit. It doesn't matter. Heck yeah, man. All right. So thanks for joining in, man. Squibby, what's going down, man? How you doing?
Travis, ¿cómo se dice en español deer?
Deer, venado. Venado. Well, okay, it depends. You want to say doe or stag or deer? Because, there's multiple terms. Venado works for anything.
Okay.
Stag is ciervo and doe is gama. So there you go.
So when the fun fact, Google Translate used to, if you translated deer from English to Spanish back to English, it would come back as red deer. So if you just kept flipping it back and forth, it'd keep putting a red in front of it. So you could get a red deer.
Google Translate, a lot of people say, aren't you worried about computers replacing you? No, because Google Translate is very wrong. Kids will put a word in there and translate it. They'll pick the first term that comes up. They don't even read it in context. They don't click on the fact that there's 5 more translations below. They just take the first word. So it's pretty easy to tell when a student's been using Google Translate. It is kind of funny. Yeah, so it's one of those things where we're still smarter than the computer, which I think is definitely a good thing. So, yeah. Squibby, you doing any shows? You got any programs you want to promote?
So I weasel onto this show. I weasel onto Lock and Load Monday nights at, I guess we're doing it at 7 Eastern now. HVS is all confused because they don't have a time change in Hawaii because they're so close to the equator or something like that. So he blames everybody on the mainland for screwing up his clock.
That's a 6 p.m. Central Time for those of us that live in the flyover states without electricity or running water.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And and then I do Oiley's Humble Home, which is a gun channel show. It's a prepping show on YouTube, and I do that on Thursdays at 9 Eastern, so 8 Central. And then I weasel onto your show. I was on Edge's show last night. It's been months since I've been able to do that, so we had a pretty decent show.
Did Clover Tack have a show last night too? It sounds like, according to the other Travis, it sounds like it went pretty late or pretty early into the morning hours. Were you on that at all, or did you see it?
No, he ended up starting late. It got to the point where I just thought he wasn't going to start the show because it came on so late. So I don't know if it's because he was traveling or what was going on.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, because he is in Oklahoma. That's right. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to send him an invite. I don't know how I missed him on my list, but he might. I know last time he posted a video saying that he didn't have the best internet connection. I think he was probably running off his phone out in the parking lot just to get a signal.
Yeah, I think G-Webs was in the text chat. It's something about let me know when Clover Tech show comes on and Edge's show comes on because his internet connection or driving around or it was kind of, I didn't understand what it. I guess if you're going to travel, buy extra data.
Yeah, I mean, I use Straight Talk and they give you, I think, 8 gigs, and then after that it's still unlimited. But a lot of the main companies that you go up with, you can be limited. So
that's true, and sometimes even data doesn't work in certain locations. So.
But as we're going to find out from Triple D, there are companies out there that have unlimited data. So, hey, Midnight Range TM, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining in. What's going on, man?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just cook them a little hard out here. If you guys If you guys see a cook wandering around anywhere, he's mine. He went out for a break last night and never came back.
Dude, that's scary, man.
Right?
That is freaky, dude.
It's happened before.
Any indication that he was a little upset, or that he was maybe not going to come back at all?
Disgruntled?
Oh no,
Did he run off with a pan of those peanut butter chocolate chewy bars that you put a video up for the other day?
Might be gone.
They might be. That's right. He might have ran off with them. So, hey, talk about your channel a little bit. What's going down with your channel? What do we need to know?
Not a whole lot. I'm trying to get some food stuff up here again. Been really busy. In process of doing a turkey video for Thanksgiving, which is cool. Nice. I got it in the cooler now.
Nice.
And then live streaming Sunday nights Eastern, 10:15, 10:30ish.
Okay.
For Food and Guns.
Yeah, you tuck me to bed every Sunday night.
Some really good episodes lately.
Thank you so much for those. I like those. The closers, right? Is that what you call them? The closer? The closer?
Yep, the closer.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm the last. Basically, I'm like other than lobby chat, I'm like the last gun members channel to do a live stream in a week. So
that's awesome, dude. They're fun to listen to.
Yeah, they've been really fun.
Awesome. Let's see. Tony joined in here. What's going on, Tony? How you doing, man?
All's good here.
Awesome.
Sorry I'm late. I about forgot about it.
Yeah. Tony, you got any shows that you want to promote? Anything out there that you want to let us know about?
Well, of course, I do the early watch, which we're experimenting with starting earlier.
Oh.
At 8 a.m. Central instead of 8:30-ish.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, after hearing about HBS, only the people who don't switch times get fucked up by it. Because Jimmy's all screwed up by it too, and they don't switch in Arizona.
Yeah, I concur.
Oh man, that's some crazy stuff. I don't know. I like it. I like the extra hour sleep, but that's just me. But then I feel like I've been robbed or stolen from in March when we have to give it up too. So it's a double-edged sword, man. I'm telling you.
I don't like it at all, because what's worse than getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning is getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
This is true. But at least the sun's up earlier. I mean, that's a good thing to have it up before 8. You know, it's not pitch black until 8 o'clock, which is, well, I guess it depends where you live. But yeah, man,
that whole thing puts a cramp in my Thursday night shooting league, though. Oh,
because you guys are you're losing daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark by about 4:30 or whatever. That's the same thing I run into, because I can't get out of school till at least 4. When I want to run to the range, I got to run home and grab everything. By the time I get out there, it's 4:30. I've got basically 1 hour to film and shoot, so it's not always easy. But all right, so let's see here. Triple D, what's going down? Another fellow Nebraskan, man. What's going on, man?
Good morning. Like you said, today is opening day deer season for rifles here in Nebraska.
Yes.
You and I, neither one of us are hunting right now. So what's wrong with this picture? I'm at work. I'm almost to start at work here in another 15 minutes. I've got to be clocked in. But what's your excuse, man?
Okay, so here's the deal. I had a chest freezer, and it did go out last season. I lost my entire deer. I had a really nice buck that I got, and I lost it. I lost all the meat in it and all the meat that was in there. The chest freezer was 13 months old, so nothing was covered under warranty. We came home from a weekend trip to my grandparents, and there was blood all over the floor leaking out of the freezer, so I lost everything. And I just haven't been motivated to buy a new one. We had just moved into a house, so I'm trying to figure out if I want to go upright or big chest freezer, something put out in the garage. But John, I may be taking you up on that January option to go hunting with you, the late season option.
Stands.
If that's out there, because here's the deal. My dad lives about an hour and a half away from you. So if I could get it gutted and quartered, I could take it to my dad's. And then from there, we could take it to a processing place in the town where my dad lives. My dad lives in a town that's almost 3 times the size of my town. There's a lot more options. For me, it's a bit expensive. Now, I could do it myself, but I just don't want to burn a couple weekends sitting around making sausage and jerky. And I mean, that stuff's fun, but I've done it enough. But at this point, I would like to get one, take it to him, and then maybe my dad and I can split the meat. So yeah, it might just be easier that way. So I'd like to do a January. And plus, I'm just so busy right now. I mean, I do want to go out. I'm actually going to the range after this. I was going to wait a couple hours and let everybody take their first shots, and then take a little SIG pistol out there that I got on loan. So, yeah, no, I think it's cool, man. Yeah, I know both of us. I should have been doing this from a deer stand. That'd have been awesome.
I'm going to be, hopefully, Lord willing, I'll be in my blind next week for Caliber Corner. So I don't know if you're going to have one, if you're going to be hunting or what, but if you're going to have one next week, I'll join you from the blind. I'll even turn the camera on and just face it away from me. Y'all can see a bunch of God's country up there in north central Nebraska.
Yeah, there we go, man.
Forewarning, unless I tag out Thursday or Friday, I will not be here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be the next 2 weekends are going to be kind of tough because then a lot of you guys are going to be out traveling. You guys are going to be getting ready for Thanksgiving and stuff. For us, we're going to be doing 2. And so we're going to be going out and then we're going to have family joining us here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a Saturday podcast. I probably should spend some time with the family. So as much as you guys are my family, that's all I want to say. Hey, Triple D there, anything you want to say about, like, are you trying to get some videos up? Are you trying to get your channel going? You got a channel, right? You've got a channel.
I've got a channel. It's just Triple D. I've got a few videos posted. What I've posted so far is just from our 2A rally last Sunday in Lincoln. I don't have the time, man. I'm not going to make a bunch of videos or do what you do, at least not anytime in the near future. But I will plug Caliber Corner Saturday mornings, 8 o'clock Central. Tuesday nights, hit or miss, 8 o'clock Central time. So there you go, Night Strike. There you go, Travis. I tell you what. If you're in north central Nebraska or anywhere near north central, northeast Nebraska, I will plug my other company, Triple D Sounds. We do weddings, proms, dances, birthday parties, any night that you just want to get together and have some really good music played. Triple D Sounds, go to Facebook and like us. tripledsounds.com is our website, so I'll plug that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and it was cool, man. You were there. You brought the sound system to our 2A rally, which really came in handy because the one that was purchased by the organizer got stolen the night before, ironically enough. And so we're 2 days before the rally. Her stuff, everything that she bought for the rally was basically stolen out of her car. And so I don't know.
They had really good sound equipment for their rally, though.
Yeah, yeah.
People steal shit in Nebraska?
In Omaha and Lincoln they do, not so much out here. No, I'm kidding. You know, there's bad elements anywhere you go. You know, I mean, there's a lot of, here we have a lot of like daytime break-ins because the majority of our town works at a plant, so they're either A shift or B shift, and a lot of people know when you're not home for 8 hours. We have a lot of car break-ins because people leave their phones out in their car or their wallets sitting on their seats. Yeah, it's kind of funny though, because out here in Nebraska, John or Triple D, you can probably attest to this. People leave their cars running out front when they run in the gas station to get a cup of coffee. Nobody turns their car off. You could go up front. There's going to be 10 pickup trucks all idling in front of my little local gas station at 7 o'clock in the morning. Those will never get stolen. Those one, yeah, I could care less. My vehicle's got full coverage. Let them. I'm ready for something new. You know, let them take it and enjoy my Jeep.
The only time I pull my keys and lock my vehicle if I'm running in is if I don't have a handgun secured on my person and it's in my vehicle, then I will, of course, lock it. I can't take that chance. But usually what I'll do is I'll have my phone laying right there in my console, and I'll leave that, and I'll go in the gas station, and yeah, it's running. This is Nebraska. Bad stuff doesn't ever happen here, does it?
No, not that I know of. Yeah.
If it does, it's because it's an out-of-state person.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Squibbly wanted to know here. Travis, what's the name of the restaurant where you work at? Are you okay giving that information up on the air? Because I know we've said it before in the chat. It's popped up, but. Oh, Travis, you with us?
Yeah, sorry, I was across the kitchen.
No, it's all good, man. The restaurant where you're at, where can people come visit? I support you.
I don't. I've been keeping a lot. Yeah, we're not. I don't want to be wishy-washy, but yeah, I keep a lot of my private stuff private. You know.
No, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it. You know?
Next time I'm headed out towards Philly, I'll send you a message over gun channels ahead of time. Yeah. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah, that's
there
cool.
we go. No, that's all right, man. Don't worry about it.
You know, one of the big things too is I don't own the restaurant, so I don't associate it with my channel because of the gun stuff. And my owner's not anti-gun by any means.
Yeah.
He's really cool, and he knows I do it. But I just don't put it out there.
No, you're not like a professional.
No.
Yeah, you know.
Thing with me too. I don't go out there and advertise what building I teach in, or I don't talk about this at school because it's a job. It's something I do on the side. It's a hobby. It's something that if somebody wants to discover me, they can. I'm not going to go out there and advertise it to the world. Hey, check me out over here. Right. You know.
Yeah.
So no, it's all good, man. All right, no problem, buddy. No problem. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. We're at a point where I think we've kind of hit that peak discussion about the 2A rallies, you know, the videos that were being put out, the information that was out there. I'd like all you guys just to share any experiences you might have had at the rallies. What was it like for you? How do you feel now that it's done? I feel a bit inspired, empowered. All right, I can say that right now, and I feel awesome to know that I've got people in my own state that are out looking for me in terms of rights and gun ownership. AWAG, any news on the New Jersey rallies at all? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Did they happen? Any talk about it? Any numbers? What's going on?
I mean, I tried to keep my finger on the pulse of the 2A rallies in New Jersey. I didn't hear anything. I mean, it's almost to the point that some people are just too lazy to go out. I mean, we just had our local elections, our government, and of the people that registered to vote, I think only 26% voted.
Actually, that's probably high for off-year election.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
But it's just really, really, like, it's sad that people in New Jersey are just so ridiculously I mean, I don't want to single everybody out in New Jersey, but from my experience, majority of the people here are either FUDs or they don't care.
Well, you got a good 74% audience you can single out.
Those aren't the words I'd use for them, but I don't live in New Jersey, so don't listen to me.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people here are all like muzzleloader or crossbow hunters, and there's no real, like, I don't want to say tactical community, because that's how I see it. Is it's either in a group of a few
firearms
guys,
enthusiasts, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just jump on you for just a second?
Sure.
To all you buds in New Jersey and around the world, I hope you guys understand that every gun ever made started its life as a weapon of war. And that's what these people want to take away. If you give them the first, they want the rest. Get off your asses and do something.
Yeah. I do. Hey, you know what? Real quick, I do want to stop. I forgot to open up with what I wanted to open up with since we're talking about this. Happy Veterans Day, guys, to all of you out there that are veterans. We had our program at the school yesterday. It was really good. We've got a Veterans Day parade today that I'm going to be streaming on Instagram, and I'm going to film it. I want to thank all of you guys on the panel. If any of you served, I want to thank you for doing that. So guys, hats off to you, man. It's because of you guys that we can actually sit here and have this chat today and not have to worry about our lives being threatened. I think it's very important. I know for a lot of places yesterday was the legally observed holiday for Veterans Day, but thank you to all you guys. If you want to say anything about that now's a good chance to say something. Me personally, I think we need to do something for our vets. I think we need to work on the VA. I think we need to, the VA hospitals, and I think we need to work on the support. I think that I know I'm going off on a tangent here. I think we need to definitely address veteran suicide. I don't think that's getting enough coverage in the news. There's all this other crap that we see on TV all the time, and something that's not popping up is the number of American soldiers that fight to survive and then come home and then don't survive. And so a lot of powerful issues out there today. I want you guys to educate yourself on.
Our veterans should be entitled to mental and medical health care equal to or above our politicians.
Yeah. Because there's no decompression for these guys. Some of them fight multiple tours. I've got family members that have been in the Middle East for over a decade now, gone on many tours and been in a lot of different situations. And who's going to take care of them when they get back? These guys do all this. They're hardwired for years and years and years, and they come back and we just let them go off into society without any kind of major help or assistance aside from pushing pills at them. So I think that
it's not just combat. You've got guys that they take a position either as a drill instructor or as a recruiter, because now they're coming home every night of the week or almost every night of the week instead of being gone for weeks or months on end. So now they can live an air quotes normal family life. But as a recruiter, they're under stress to recruit so many people a month, or else they're going to lose that cushy gig, and now their family's going to move back to another part of the country, and they're going to be gone all the time at training or on deployment or stuff. So they're under a lot of pressure. And then you've got the guy that's a drill instructor who from 0400 in the morning until 2100, 9 o'clock at night, they're yelling and yelling and yelling, and then they have to go home and act normal around their wife and kids when they've been yelling all day. So there's all kinds of different aspects of the military, not just combat, although combat is the most stressful thing that affects somebody's life, that their home life and their work life have to be two different things, and it's really difficult. I can remember some of the things that my dad did in our home life, and he wasn't abusive or anything else like that. It actually made me tougher, so that when I went to boot camp, my drill instructors were not as intimidating as they thought they were, because they couldn't beat my dad. But still, not everybody grows up with that, and it's kind of hard. I guess it'd be kind of like law enforcement. If you had to deal with an incident in law enforcement that night, maybe you've got boring night after boring night and then you have that one night where you save a life or you get shot at or something like that, and then you have to go home and decompress. And in the military, it's on a bigger scale. So just understand that for those out there that think veterans are all about combat, the guy who is the cook, who feeds everybody, the guy who works in admin that makes sure that you get paid so your family can barely squeak by on that poor military pay, and all the other people. I was talking with my banker. What did she do? She certified the gas masks and all the NBC equipment in Afghanistan for the people working at the prison guarding the prisoners. Why? Because they had to use tear gas all the time. And I don't know if anybody's ever been hit by tear gas, but it will get around a gas mask if you don't have that thing sealed up. You might look at her job as insignificant, but the guys that work there guarding prisoners didn't look at her job as insignificant. So just understand that there's different kinds of stresses, and somebody could say, you know, they've got a civilian job that has stress too, and they wouldn't be lying. Somebody drives an ambulance is dealing with stress and things like that. But it's just unless you've done it, just understand that you don't necessarily have to go away to combat just to have things to deal with. Sorry about that, Travis.
No, I think it's an important. I mean, I feel really strongly about this because everybody has a potential to be affected by this. The service members themselves, their families. I mean, it's, yeah.
There's many positions in the military that you ship out for that are not combat, because my daughter's not a combat veteran, but she's been to the sand a couple of times. And, they're away from their kids. I mean, you figure that she went for a year away from her when she left, 3-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son. And by the time she came back, she missed a lot of the parenting on that 3-year-old, like completely housebreaking the kid and, starting to teach the kid to speak real English, things like that. And she missed out on all that because she was gone. That's a tough one for mothers, especially.
And something that really, really bothers me about it is we don't really seem to get the media and the press coverage on it. The CDC says that 43,000 people kill themselves every year. Veterans, we're losing 22 a day, 8,000 a year. If airplanes killed us at that rate, do you think that there'd be some coverage for the airplanes killing people at that rate? Yeah, it would be all over the news. They'd be pulling airplanes out of the sky left and right. Yet it happens in our own country. And what's going on? What are we doing about it?
Hear about the ones that use a gun to do it.
Yeah.
At least in the statistics.
Right. There was that A-10 pilot that crashed in the Rocky Mountains, and they're pretty sure it was a suicide. And it's way too easy in the military. You have access to so much stuff that during a training exercise, you can actually jump in front of something really easy. If you play with explosives, that sort of thing. The thing is, though, if somebody wants to do it, they're going to find a way to do it. And that's not a good thing. You want to get that person help and let them know their life does have value. Some people can't see it, but everybody's life has value. The other thing is, if they do it and they want to take 50 of their buddies with them, that's not good either.
Yeah.
But there are I remember young Marines like me, we would get married and set up our life at our new at our duty station. Once we got out into the fleet, we call it, we're done with all of our training, we're out in the fleet. And a lot of young guys, they were lonely. They had their girl back home. They kind of wanted her to be there. They didn't want her running off with somebody else. You got a little bit of extra pay if you were married. You got to live out in town, not in the barracks if you were married, things like that. And there were guys getting married young, and then they would be gone for weeks or months on training or deployment or something like that. Meanwhile, she's left home alone in a state she's never been in a place in a new lifestyle, military lifestyle doesn't. And what does she do? She starts seeking companionship. And then he comes back from the field or back from deployment and finds out she's got a boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And then he flips out. And some guys decided to take their life over it. And it wasn't pretty. So it's not necessarily just about going over to war and seeing atrocities and not knowing how to deal with regular life and decompress. It's about being young, and we all remember how we were when we were young. And you know, any setback in life, you look at it as my life is over. When you don't realize, you know, when you're young, you don't realize things like I'll just, you know, fine, I'll get a divorce. It's going to cost me money, and it's embarrassing and stuff. But I'll get a better one next time, you know, because you're young. And that's another thing. When you're in the military and you're young, you get a lot of responsibility. You have other people's lives in your hands. You had this nation's security in your hands. When I was over in Europe on Liberty, when we went over to Bosnia and Somalia, we took Liberty in Europe, and I was over there, and we're out on you know, touring around, looking and seeing the sights and stuff. Even though we were around other people that were other white guys, I'll just say it, all right, in France or whatnot, I told my friends, I said, we've all got targets painted on our back. I know Trump just said that recently. I said it 25 years ago. We stick out like a sore thumb. If a terrorist wanted to attack American servicemen while they were vulnerable, if they were overseas on Liberty, all they have to do is look out in the harbor. There's 3 ships sitting there. They know the Marines are in town, the Navy's in town. And it would be real easy to pick out an American and attack them. And it has happened in, you know, some nightclubs or they're all getting on the bus from the airport to go to the base or whatnot. So there's all kinds of different times and positions where, you know, young people are in a position to make errors, make mistakes, and they're in a position where their lives are in jeopardy, and it's not just about combat. So.
You know, and I mean, I don't want to focus on the negative, because things that veterans have done, you know, glorious, incredible acts of heroism and courage. I'm just saying, you know, a veteran, you know, they deserve everything. They deserve our utmost respect. So hats off to them. I mean, and there's so many issues that I think we need to look at that aren't being looked at, that our president's not looking at now that the elections happen. I haven't heard Trump really doing much to help out with the veterans or increasing funding or anything. And so I'm just saying that it's a very important day. It's a very heavy day for a lot of people. And just, you know, if you know a veteran, you know, shake their hand, man, take them out, get them a nice cup of coffee, you know, just talk to them for a little while. I mean, really, it's, yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to imagine the kind of sacrifice that these people put in their lives and how it affects them later on. I mean, and I'm not anti-veteran, I'm not anti-combat, anti-armed forces at all. I'm just saying that there's important issues that we need to deal with when people get back that need to be addressed that are not being addressed right now.
I wasn't painting a pretty picture there, and I wasn't trying to bring the conversation down. I think there's some things that people don't know about if they aren't in. If I talk to a veteran who just got out a few years ago, or I talked to a veteran who got out 40 years ago, we all have the same story. I mean, you know, the technology or whatnot might be a little bit different and stuff. Instead of getting a Dear John 2 weeks later in the mail in a paper envelope, you get it via text now or whatever. But a Dear John is where your old lady leaves you, and it's usually while you're on deployment or something and you're helpless to do anything about it. Anyhow, I would do it again. If they called me, I would go again. I wouldn't hesitate. I miss it every single day of my life. When I'm around other veterans, I like talking about military. It doesn't matter what branch they're in. It doesn't matter when they're in. We all have a connection. As one of the jobs I'm looking at, my boss might be a veteran, and I told the recruiter for the contract house, focus on that one first, and let me see if I can get an interview with that guy, because it is something. It is a brotherhood and a camaraderie. I suggest to any young person who doesn't know what they want to do with their life, or they got some adventure in them, they want to get out, join the military. Just join for a few years if you want. If you want to re-enlist, if they're even offering re-enlistments, because that comes and goes, you know, you can stay in and whatnot. But I got the action adventure movie out of my system when I was in my early 20s, and there's a lot of mundane BS and negative stuff that goes with it too. But life isn't pretty. But I would say to anybody out there who wants to get some job skills and find out about themselves and have some fun and meet great people And when you're in another city or state or something, and you run into another Marine somewhere, or whatever, he's your brother, that sort of thing, or even another branch. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Just a side note.
Yeah.
If you're not in good physical condition, that first is going to be a tough one.
Oh, you mean when you go in, when you enlist?
When you join the military,
they'll get you into
kids don't exercise anymore.
They'll get you into shape. You're young. They'll get you into shape. I mean, there's the mental part of it too. It's scary. It's scary. And if you take it seriously, I mean, if you really want this, what they say is going to get inside your head. If you don't want it, there were guys that were there. Just like, I don't know. There's nothing else to do in town, so I enlisted. Okay, I wanted to be a Marine since I was 10 years old, so I was all about it. But you're going to meet people that are like that. That's fine. I mean,
you find that anywhere.
Yeah, and it's
for those of
negative.
you who are,
they some of those guys turned out to be some of the best Marines I served with.
Yeah.
For those of you who are questioning, the harsh treatment you get in basic, just realize that there's a purpose.
Oh yeah.
Their job is to teach you to follow orders without question.
Yes, because if you don't, in certain circumstances, you not just get yourself killed, you get your friends killed. They told us that they were treating us like prisoners of war, so if we ever did get captured, we could survive. So, there's all kinds of different things. It also builds into you this, you suddenly realize if you put your mind to it, you can do it. I never had that before I was in the military. I always thought, oh, I can't. And there's some things I just don't want to do.
Yeah.
But if you give me a task and I want it, I will find a way to accomplish it. And I learned that in the military. And it's something good for anybody who wants to do something with their life. But it's not a necessity. There are plenty of people out who are never in the military, great people too. So
it'll also get you through college without a freaking mountain of student loan debt.
This is true. And that nowadays, that's insane what you can drop on a 4-year education. It's crazy. Real quick, guys, on a positive note, Car Carrier made a little comment in the side chat. Trump has signed a bill to speed up appeals and give access to private medical care. Media just doesn't cover it for veterans. And so that's definitely okay. So hats off to Trump for doing that. Because we're not going to hear about those things because that's not what people want to hear. The problems that we deal with, you only hear about it when it hits its most extreme low. And, I think so. But anyway, guys, that's it. So happy Veterans Day to you guys for that. Okay, let's transition back to talking about the rallies. AWAG, was there anything else you wanted to mention about the Jersey rallies at all? Was there a lot of media coverage for it at all? Did you find anything in the papers or what's?
I mean, I tried to keep my pulse, my finger on the pulse of this, but see, New Jersey is one of those things where I don't know. I mean, Trenton is I know it's not far compared to you other states where it's like almost 3 or 4 hours. Trenton is only like a hop, skip, and a jump compared to those. But like I didn't hear anything. I mean, I could be wrong. There could have been like 90 people there. Who knows? But I tried my best to like figure out what was going on with the New Jersey rally, but I don't know.
Gotcha, man. But hey, no, thank you for doing what you did for that to create awareness and to be active and to educate yourself as a young person too, AWAG. It's good to see that you're keeping yourself educated on the issues, and I think that's important. So,
and that's another thing is, I tried doing my part on Facebook. I'm still friends with some of the people that I went to high school with, and they always share like these videos where this guy's like speaking about like, oh my gosh, the Sandy Hook shooting. Can you hear the little children screaming? And it's just like, and they throw around these bogus stats, and I go in the comment section. I'm like, hey, this is all false, and I throw FBI statistics and everything in there. I'm just like, yo, what do you think? And I try to be polite about it too. I'd be like, yo, what do you think about this? Let me know. So we can talk about it. Don't just spew false information, because in the end, it just makes you look like an idiot, and I don't really like making people look like idiots.
No, I hear you, man. And like I said, social media is a huge part of it. A lot of us don't realize that connect that it makes with somebody. Somebody might not go out of their way to read about the Second Amendment, but if you post something about going to a 2A rally on your Facebook feed and it shows up as new info for that person, they're going to take the time to read it. That's just that's how young people are these days. That's how a lot of people are with social media. So it is a very powerful tool that we need to use to our advantage. while we can, because some of those social media sites don't like us. But okay, Jim, what about you? What can you tell us about Texas, man? What's going on down in Texas? What was going down?
So we had roughly, this is me just finger counting people, about 40 people show up.
Okay.
I was a little disappointed with the turnout, but it wasn't bad. I'll call it I'd call it a qualified success given the hunting season and the short lead time and everything. Overall, I think it was a good experience. We had a little bit of interest from the local paper. We had a couple of good speakers show up. There was supposed to be more, but we had, a local gun shop owner who went through a lot of actually rather detailed legislation that was kind of needed in Texas to clarify different gun laws and expansions of our rights. Because Texas has, we got car carry a few years ago and a few things like that. Car carry, because a car is now an extension of your homestead in Texas. So there's some clarifications that are needed on that. So we had some good things going on out there. I think overall it was a pretty good experience. The most interesting part was meeting Adam Kokesh, I think.
Yeah, I watched Matt's interview with him. I think the guy's got some really interesting ideas. I don't disagree with a lot of them in the fact that we've tried to maintain, well, not us, but the fact that the status quo has been maintained in this country forever in terms of the two-party control. He's got some pretty. Check out Matt's interview with him. He's got about an 8.5-minute interview with him on Matt's channel over at Never Enough Ammo, and so that was
the raw speech that he gave inside that house we went to was definitely more interesting. He went a little further out there on that one. But overall it was a good experience. I do wish a few more people had showed up, but I got to meet some neat people and the
networking you get to do across your state, which is huge, by the way. It's awesome to be able to meet people from all the four corners of Texas. That is very awesome. That is you might not get that experience otherwise, even if it's just a few people you got to network with. I think that's important to make those connections because we all have a common goal.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've seen Texas on a map. Ain't it got like 9 corners?
Well, I just call it, 4 corners makes it more homey, it's like the size of like 6 other states. So, so it's not like it's a little place. Okay. Midnight Range TM, Travis, what can you tell us about your rally, dude? What's going down?
It was a cold and rainy, miserable day.
Sounds like Nebraska.
Yeah, it was really cold and misty. Nobody took the point in PA. Unfortunately, I just didn't have much more time than I made some calls and sent a bunch of texts and stuff like that, and did what I could, but I just wasn't able to do much more than that. So honestly, it was 3 of us. And I keep throwing shout outs to the guys. Deuce Driver 610 came from Reading, and Marcelo from BMGA 10mm came from Philly. And we met and we hung out for a couple hours and we talked and said hi to some people and that's what we did. Marcelo's channel is really cool. You'd like that one. It's all in Portuguese. He's actually from Brazil.
Yeah. I've heard you talk about his channel before. It sounds pretty interesting. Yeah.
Oh man, he has some cool toys, man. He has some really cool toys.
He should be bringing us interpretations of Taurus videos. We could get the newest Taurus products in English delivered to us, and that's important to somebody like me.
He just did it's funny, I commented under his video the other day. I think gun is an international language because I've watched a couple of his videos now and I don't understand more than 2 words.
Oh, okay.
But I've still watched the damn videos because it's eye candy. So
do you put on the translations of the captions on YouTube so it kind of gives you a rough idea what he's saying, or?
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, just click on CC and it'll tell you. You can choose the language especially if it wasn't in English originally.
Yeah, he was talking about doing some sort of translator, but he had a really nice 1911 video the other day with he has a SIG Spartan in 10mm. It's beautiful.
Can you put a link to his channel over on the internal or over on the YouTube side and the gun channel side?
Sure, I can.
Find his channel floating around. I think you got mod power or something. Do you have mod on my my channel?
Yeah, I can do it. And then
all right, cool.
Deuce Driver doesn't have he has one video up right now, and it's actually his drive to the Capitol and then our meeting and hanging out and stuff. But the guy owns a deuce and a half, for Christ's sake, so he's pretty cool in my book.
You should do a whole channel just on that, like a how-to on everything about he could be like Doug DeMuro and do like this is why my deuce and a quarter, deuce and a half's worth $5,000, and he goes through every little niche and nook of that thing to talk about why everybody should have one.
Yep, him and his buddy bought it. And his buddy bought it, and then a couple of years ago, or a little, not a couple of years ago, but then he bought his buddy out of his half. So now it's all his. It's cool. So Deuce Driver 610.
Sweet.
Travis, get your deuces right. A deuce and a quarter is an old Buick.
Yeah, I know. Deuce and a quarter, deuce and a half. Yeah, I am really bad when it comes to military vehicles. I used to love them as a kid, but I don't know, some of the names of these things, which is sad because we have a military museum in town that has about 30 of them on display. So I really need to go out there and check them out and educate myself. So deuce and a quarter.
They've got some deuces out there. They've got some 5 tons. They've got a Bradley. I think they've got a M48 or M60 tank.
That's just outside, by the way. Yeah.
yeah. Don't they have they've got a Huey up there on the highway, right?
They do. When you first come into town, they've got it with the cast iron silhouette of soldiers being pulled up in for an extraction. It's pretty, when you drive into town, it's the Heartland Military Museum of Vehicles, or the Heartland Museum of Military Vehicles. In fact, they're going to be taking some of them downtown today for the parade. They get about a dozen of them out, and they drive them down the street for a Veterans Day parade, which is really cool. So like I said, if you guys are joining late, I'll be streaming that parade live on Instagram today, and then I'm going to film it and put it up on my YouTube channel. So it's pretty cool. It's not very long, but it is cool just to get to see all the branches represented and see everybody downtown. Small town Veterans Day parade. We're only a town of about 10,000, so it's not like this huge, Rose Bowl, Pasadena parade thing, but it's really cool. Hell, I'd rather watch this than the Rose Bowl parade anyway, so. Okay, where are we at here? Night Strike. I'm gonna start calling you. You're no longer called Jonas on this. I'm gonna now call you the Maestro, because you orchestrated the get together in your state. And Night Strike, what can you tell us about what went down in your little neck of the woods?
Well, it's all on video.
No. Give us a summary. Some people that haven't seen your channel yet. What do we need? What did you guys get to do? What was cool about the whole event? How did it change you?
The only really cool thing about it was Such just showed up. That's about it.
Yeah.
Did you get to network with people from around the state, or did you get to meet up with anybody or talk about plans you guys would like to make for promoting the 2A? Did you guys have some good discussions?
We had good discussions. I live streamed most of those discussions.
Yeah.
After I turned it off, so she's like, "You're not still live streaming, are you?" Yeah, we're off camera. Right? I can say this now.
Now hold on a second. So you used a laptop to do the live stream of the meeting?
Yeah, because there was only like 8 people there.
Okay, so why aren't you live streaming, or why aren't you recording your videos for your channel on your computer? You don't have to use your phone. You should just be using your camera and your webcam. Just set it up on right next to you and let it roll, man.
I need a new table to take outside with me. That's why.
Just park on the back of your vehicle. You'll be fine. Just set it on a chair or something.
I'm not parking in the only vehicles I have right now are 2-wheel drive, not 4-wheel.
All right. Oh, so it's out back in the marsh or whatever. Is it? I'll tell you what. I've got a nice Jeep Cherokee sitting up in the driveway. It's got a little under 200,000 well-pampered miles. I'll be more than happy to make you a good deal on it, and you can drive it out wherever you want. You can film right out of the back like I do and everything.
I don't want a vehicle from the Rust Belt, thanks.
No, we're actually not the Rust Belt. We don't use salt on our roads. We just use mostly sand. So our vehicles actually hold up really well, surprisingly. You're thinking more like southeast, more eastern of us. They tend to use more chemicals on the road out here unless there's really no salt. So it's fine.
New Jersey is the worst of the Rust Belt because
I heard, no offense, guys, but I thought Michigan, they always complain about it. Like in Motor Week, when I used to read the magazine, they always talk about the cars having rust issues and all that fun stuff coming from that neck of the woods. But
it is the worst here.
Is it bad?
Michigan, yeah. Minnesota, North Dakota, all through up there. Anything that the Northland Edition Fords, those. Any of those dealers, any of that area, there you're going to see a lot more rust probably.
I'd say we're probably just a little bit west of the Rust Belt when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. we basically, I since my laptop, microphone picks up everything. I just decided to live stream it, and apparently it worked out all right. So, granted, it didn't help that there were annoying birds outside, and some liberal with a church bell didn't help either.
Hey, at least you didn't have to have a generator running off in the corner getting into all the recordings.
I would have liked the generator because then then I could have streamed the other 2 hours of the rally. So instead of my battery dying on me.
Yeah.
Well,
When you have to haul that thing, about a third of a mile from your truck, that's no fun either.
Yeah.
I parked right next to where we had the rally. I had no problems.
You had it easy.
I did have to go down and pick up Ellis on my way to Columbia. So it was an hour in the other direction and then 2 hours to Columbia.
Man, so you were on the road quite a bit then.
Yeah,
I think I had about
for like 4 hours that day.
Yeah. Yeah, we all drove some pretty good distances, but you guys can check that out over on Night Strike's channel. It's pretty cool, man. That was I had a good time watching it.
Look me up on YouTube, Night Strike 1. That's Night Strike with a Y in strike.
That's right, because he is one that strikes at night. Exactly. All right, so Squibby, what can you tell us about your rallies, man? You had some good coverage going on, didn't you? I think I saw some things. What would you? Yeah, you were weren't you posting stuff on Instagram? No, you were sending me text messages, if I'm not mistaken.
So I was bouncing between you.
Yeah.
And Jared Walsh and Sean Ponery.
Okay.
Sending text messages and pictures and things like that, just trying to gauge what's going on in other states. And Smeggy was live streaming what he could. He opened up a lobby before he left the house, and then he would just connect with his phone, and he was trying to live stream the speakers. So between the two of us, we were doing what we could. A lot of it was just seeing things down in little boxes down at the bottom. Because of the way Google Hangouts works. But it's the first time either one of us went to a rally, and we met up at a halfway point between our homes and rode up there in Smeggy's new F-150. And I'm not a Ford guy, but that truck, it rides so smooth. And we found a place to park. Neither one of us really knew, downtown Lansing that well. I used to go to Lansing all the time, but never by the Capitol. And there's parking structures and things like that. And it's because it's on a Sunday. There's nobody there, so we were able to figure out where we could park. That was just a few blocks walk, and we also knew where to park in the future because we both intend to go to more rallies if they have them. Kind of like a reconnaissance mission. When we got up there were only a few people. There was a little canopy set up for Michigan Open Carry. It's one of the state organizations here, and the firearms guy was there. He does a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I like his channel, man. That's pretty cool. It's fun to listen to him talk.
Yeah, I never even heard of the guy, even though he's from Michigan. I never heard of the guy until a week before this when I saw he did a post, and he mentioned Matt. So once he mentioned Matt, I knew he had street cred, but I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And I told Smeggy I was a little bit concerned it might be commercialized, that there might be a bunch of vendors setting up booths, or the NRA is going to try to sell memberships or things like that. And that's not what it was at all. I mean, there was a guy that did this. He had a book for sale, and they were trying to get memberships for Michigan Open Carry, but they never pushed it. It was just kind of, it was out there if you wanted it, but there was no pressure sales and that sort of thing. So I thought that was good, that it didn't turn commercial. They gave everybody a chance to speak. Over time, the crowd got bigger and bigger. I will say the forecast for that day was for thunderstorms, and it was foggy when we got there. I mean, you couldn't even see. When I met Smeggy at the mall, I parked away from the buildings because you couldn't even see the mall at all. I mean, it was that foggy that morning. So the weather kind of kept people away. The fog, the threat of thunderstorms. Plus, it's bow hunting season, so there's a lot of guys that are firearms guys that are out hunting. Some people have to work, so I think we could have had more people if there was more notice and the weather was more cooperative. I will say that the first raindrop did not fall until we were all shaking hands to leave, so we got really lucky. Despite the fog, it wasn't too cold and the weather wasn't too bad. They had one speaker come up after another. We even had two guys from Anonymous there. That was, and here's these guys wearing these masks with the Anarchy flag, and one's wearing the Anarchy flag as a cape, and they asked permission to speak, and said, okay, it's open to anybody. So they went up there and they spoke. It's just two kids. They're young guys. I don't know. There were some people that were asking some aggressive questions that I think they were trying to antagonize them, but they didn't. They contradicted each other. But other than that, though, they didn't let the antagonizing get under their skin and that sort of thing. After everybody had spoke, and we had people there from a militia. It's not the Michigan militia in the Tim McVeigh sense. I can't remember what they were. The Michigan something or other militia and something or other, and those were the guys wearing the body armor with the Glock right there on their chest, and one guy had a hunting knife, and the one guy that spoke, he had the tactical beard that was braided, all camo, had the bump fire sock. They're carrying their ARs at the low ready, and it's not, they didn't make a big deal of it. I was kind of concerned that if anybody showed up with a rifle at the low ready, it would look too aggressive, but it was fine. He spoke, and it just overall it went really well. They took a group photo on the steps of the Capitol. There were some people who did not want to be in the group photo. Almost everybody was carrying a firearm. I open carried. It's the first time I've open carried a sidearm in Michigan. And at first it was a little bit, I just put it on. It was an old hat. I mean, I used to carry the same sidearm in the same holster when I was in the military, but it'd been a long time. And as we start walking down the street, I'm thinking it's the same feeling you get the first time you conceal carry. You think everybody's watching you.
Yeah, you're like, oh God, I hope I'm not printing.
right. And here I am, and I've got this flap holster, and I'm there. Oh, wait a minute, there's two women. Are they looking at me? What's going on? Oh, there's somebody with their kids. And then it's like, no. Yeah. I've had this feeling before when I used to conceal carry. No, this is normal. Yeah. So, and when I got up there and there's all these people walking around with sidearms, it was a little bit more comforting. And then when the guy showed up with the long guns, and it was like, oh, okay, dang. There were 2 state troopers there. They never harassed anybody. They were just standing there in uniform, chit-chatting. The state trooper headquarters right across the street. So, when we were all done, we did a march around the Capitol. It was several blocks. We did obey the traffic laws as far as waiting for the crosswalk signals. We had a trooper take point and one in the back, and everybody in the middle. We stopped on the way and took pictures. And then afterward, everybody shook hands and parted away, and then the sky opened up and we got out of there.
There you go.
It was a good first experience. I would have liked to have seen 500 people out there or something like that. Maybe next time.
Yeah, make it an annual thing. Start promoting it early. Maybe host a few get-togethers. Send some invites out there. Invite groups early so people can plan their opening day deer hunt around it. Because maybe a lot of people didn't find out about it until a week or two before. That's no excuse. You should really be there. I really be there. I think for a lot of people, this might just be a one-time thing. So,
I think that if you had it on a weekday, you might get people in the legislature to see you, but how many people can get off work on a weekday? If you did on a Saturday, there might have been some more, but I mean, I think they did it right on a Sunday, and it was really more about us really than making our presence known to the politicians there, or having a news crew out there or something. We didn't have a news crew or whatnot. I think our experience, Smeggy and I also I met Potatoes. He's Gun Channel's member.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time. And that was great. It would have been nice to see more Gun Channels guys there, but I did talk to a few people about Gun Channels, just try to get some more gun guys in, just talking, and you know how we network out, so it works out really good. But I wasn't really there as a salesman, but it just the combining factors that didn't have the numbers up in the hundreds or thousands or something, just this giant rally. The anonymous guys, when they were talking, they called it a protest. And the militia guy stopped them and he says, no, this is a peaceful assembly. And that's exactly what it was. If anybody thought there was going to be a riot, or there was not even anything close. It was a great first experience. And the reason I'm explaining in detail is for anybody who might not have gone, if you go, your first experience might be just like what Smeggy and I went through. So it worked out really good. I would definitely do it again, and I'd like to see more numbers out there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's good, man. That's good. Tony, what about you, man? What can you say about the 2A rallies? Any information you can share with us? Any experience that you had?
It was a nice walk around the Capitol for me and Dano.
Just you two?
One other guy
showed
up we never met.
Yeah.
And the one thing I say about it is the gun owners in Illinois wonder why we got such crappy gun laws. The massive turnout for our rally certainly explains a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I had a good day. I mean, me and Dano hung out for a big part of the day.
Yeah. Now you're representing Illinois, right? You're in Illinois?
Yes.
Okay. Just because I don't know if we had mentioned where you were located at. So, I mean, you know, if anything, you created a little bit of awareness. I think I saw the same thing down in Kansas too for another fellow YouTuber. It was just him and one other guy. That was it. The whole state of Kansas, which has constitutional carry, might I add. I mean, come celebrate your Second Amendment rights to the fullest and come show your appreciation and love for your constitutional right. And only 2 guys were there. You know, I mean, it just kind of blows my mind how more people wouldn't care. And they won't care until it gets to the point that the media scream at them saying, you know, they're coming for your guns, and then we care. You know, we have to let it get to its worst point possible before we get active. And I think that's pretty sad on our part as a gun community. You know, I mean, it's inconvenient to go, but it's a worthwhile experience. And if you care, you should be there. It's that simple. Now, everybody's got obligations. I get that. But still. Yeah, there you go. What else are you going to do on a Sunday afternoon? I loved it. It was great to get out. I mean, it was nice out, and it was good to get some fresh air and just get to network with people and just have the opportunity. It was my first political rally I think I'd maybe ever attended in my life. I mean, we don't have a lot of them here, especially ones that interest me in Nebraska. So, you know, it was a first opportunity. So, but no, Tony, thank you for going, and thank you for having a presence, man. I think that's good. It's what our community needs, dude.
Yeah, it was really. That part of it was really disappointing, but it was also kind of eye-opening too. Although I really did know that we have a lot of apathy here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I plan to call them out on it a lot.
So you're already working up a plan for next time there's a rally to try to get more people from Illinois involved?
We have an iGold rally coming early spring, and that's where the crowds will come in, because it's sponsored by the Illinois State Rifle Association, and it's an annual thing, so it's been going on for some years.
Cool.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens in the near future if Feinstein's ban bill gets any traction.
Yeah, I want to get to that here after we run through the panel. I'm kind of curious to see where things are going with that, because I heard about it. There was a lot of late night posts that came up, and you know, I haven't really been seeing anything, but it's kind of scary. Okay, so real quick, Triple D, man, what can you tell us about the Nebraska rally? I got to meet you. That was an awesome experience. Got to meet a lot of people from all around the state that were pro 2A. What was the rally like for you? What was your take on it?
I think, first of all, one of the high points, I got to meet Travis P11.
Hey!
So I mean, there's that. No, I pretty much just exactly what you said. I mean, we had a great day for it, great weather, so that was awesome. I was very impressed that we actually had, you know, it was only one, but we had one of our state legislators from our unicameral actually was there along with one of our employees. Mm-hmm. And and the really cool thing is that employee used to be a lobbyist for the NFOA. So I really, really enjoyed listening to everybody that was there. We had, 4 people got up and spoke, 5 if you count Trisha, and who got up and spoke that actually do public speaking or are out in the public in some fashion. We had a state senator, we had one of our employees, we had a radio DJ from Omaha, and then we had another columnist. And then we had a couple, what would you just call us, regular Joes, I guess. You know,
yeah, they said we're just going to have some just everyday folks come up and talk about their feeling on the Second Amendment. How's it affect them as citizens of the state, you know?
Right. We had you, we had me, we had the young lady who is also works in the public school system. So it was nice. The part that really impressed me was, out of these 8 people who got up and spoke in front of that crowd, mm-hmm. And we didn't get together, any of us, beforehand and really compare notes. I know you and I talked a little bit, but I didn't know what you were going to say, and you didn't know what I was going to say.
Did you get it out of the ballpark, man? It was awesome. Yeah.
Thanks. I tried. I kind of struggled my way through it. Like I said, I didn't even have any notes. But no, what I really liked is the fact that out of everybody that spoke, we didn't have anybody who repeated the same point. We didn't sound like a broken record. Everybody had a different thing to say, and everybody made a lot of sense. And I was very impressed that, you know, as fast as we got this slapped together, and without any kind of awareness of what everybody else was going to say. I was very impressed at what everybody said, that everybody had something really awesome to say that made a lot of sense. And I think had there been anti-gun people in the crowd, I think it would have at least been thought-provoking. It's not our job to change minds. It's just our job to get the truth out there. So I really liked that part. And I can't wait to do this again. I think that it'd be great if we could get maybe not a rally, but some sort of event up, this corner of the state, and just get some more awareness and say, hey, people, let's get off our butts, because I don't want to see Nebraska become a state full of FUDs. I don't want people, oh, they'll never take away our right to go shoot some deer this week. Well, and they might. We don't know that. So I've got a lot of things that get me fired up. A lot of things that I would say in a good discussion, in a good debate. But I try not to, like I said, I try not to present my opinions as, number one, the opinions that are mine. I try not to present them as facts, or that anybody else should believe what I believe. But at the same time, I mean, if you're gonna oppose what I think, that's fine. I respect that, as long as you know what you're talking about, as long as you've done your research. I don't care. I don't think everybody should be pro-gun. I definitely would never try to tell everybody you need to own guns. The same way I would never try to tell anybody you need to go to this church, or you need to go to that church, or you need to go to a certain church. I would never tell anybody you need to be married to this person. If you're a male, I don't care if you like girls, boys, jar of peanut butter. I don't care. It's none of my business. So,
yeah, exactly.
And the same way, I want to be left alone.
Peanut butter love.
As long as there's no sprinkles in your peanut butter, you're all right. No coconut.
Yep.
But no, I think that it was a great. Starting point here in our state. I think it could be a turning point in my life. I didn't realize how passionate I was about some of this stuff, and I've never been political before. And I could really see myself becoming more and more so. And I just wish that there was a way that I could get, my passion for the Second Amendment and some of this stuff. I wish that there was a way that I could get that to pay my bills, and I wouldn't have to have a day job. I'd be sitting in a deer blind right now instead of sitting at work.
Heck yeah. I mean, if especially when it comes to like YouTube or trying to make it, it would be a full-time job for anybody that wants to be pro firearm and try to make a living off of it, in terms of just being online and having a presence, or even just trying to do what these people do. Yeah, I know it was an awesome experience, and Triple D, it was very cool to get to meet you too. For Nebraska, I think we had around 60 to 70 people that attended. We had a lot of the media there. It was interesting. Supposedly, a few of the members of the NFOA were able to identify some of the spies from the other side that were hanging out during our rally, but nobody protested, nobody screamed and yelled anything. Everybody was civil. I was incredibly impressed, and I would expect no less from the Nebraska State Patrol. How cool they were, the fact that everybody was open carrying and they didn't even bat an eye. All they wanted to do was meet the organizer, just communicate on the time frame, and they took point and basically offered us some good coverage on the sidewalks so that nothing weird would happen. Although I got to say, it was a little funky to have a Ryder truck parked right where we were by the microphone.
I was going to say, let's talk about that a little bit, because there was a few moments where I was a little concerned. I was a little nervous there. I didn't think much of it until they thought of it.
Yeah, there was a Ryder truck, like a moving truck, literally parked right by the little driveway area where we walk up to the front steps where our microphone was sitting. And I mean, what better place to cause a terrorist act than small town Nebraska, where that would strike fear into a lot of people. The Highway Patrol, I mean, after about 15, 20 minutes of that truck being parked there when we started, they walked up to it. They started looking inside of it. They were running the plate numbers on it. I don't know if I think they got the owner. Some gal came out carrying some bags or something. I don't know if she was parking there because she was moving downtown. It was legally parked. It was just kind of freaky to have a U-Haul parked right there where we were, and there's nothing else around. All cars around the area. So I'm like, can we get that thing out of here?
Well, and that was there. I mean, I was there before you were, and that was there, probably overnight. I mean, it was there way early. Yeah. It was there before any of the rest of us showed up. And so, yeah, it was nothing. It turned out to be nothing, and I'm sure that like you said, somebody was just moving some stuff or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it was, I thought about that when I first pulled up and I saw that thing, and then I didn't think again of it, because again, this is Nebraska. We don't get terrorist attacks where we're going to take out, less than 100 people. What would be the point? But then again, when our state patrolman walked over there and started running plates, I thought, it could happen. It's just a little concerning. And the people that were open carrying, I mean, that sidearm on their side, that's not going to do anything against a truck bomb. you know,
Yeah.
so. So I'm glad that it turned into nothing. So I don't know if anybody else that's listening to this right now feels the way that I do, but I do thank God that He protected us. I thank God that He protects our country every day. But you know, I had prayed before I went up there, and everything worked out really, really well, and I do thank God for that.
No, it was an awesome get together. And then Nebraska Farms Owners Association basically got this put together in about a week. And also on that note, I was talking to Trisha Harold, who's the president for the NFOA, or the main representative for the NFOA, and I'm going to be one of the point people for Western Nebraska and Central Nebraska. I'm going to be, when I go to the gun shows, I'll be setting up tables, passing out media, passing on information for people about the NFOA. They claim a membership of 10,000 according to the brochures. A lot of people just sign up for it because they're the big local organization. What's cool about them is that they do. She made a pretty good point. They do lobby in our unicameral. They do lobby and speak out against anti-gun bills when they come up, you know, for our representatives to vote on. And she said it's sad. She goes, for every, what she say, there's basically 2 of us that speak out against this stuff, that these members of our representatives try to pass regulations against firearms, and there's 20 people that speak out in favor of the anti-gun legislation. So it's basically her and one other group. I don't know exactly who it was, but they're the ones that are representing us. You want to talk about being against the odds? And I'm surprised with that kind of anti-gun rhetoric being pushed through our capital. I'm surprised that there aren't more regulations and restrictions in our state. Thank God we've got some level-headed people up there that, you know, either understand the Second Amendment or they get the idea about what they're rational, down-to-earth individuals that understand what the right thing is. And for that, I think we're definitely lucky in the state to have that.
Well, and yeah, that really opened my eyes too, because yeah, that was just crazy. And she's not just talking about somebody that shows up and sits in the audience and witnesses these hearings. She's talking about, she actually goes before our state unicameral and testifies.
Yep.
And so, and like you said, there's 1 or 2 from the pro 2A side that will say, you know, you can't do this, or whatever. You know, this isn't what we need to be passing. And then yeah, they'll get 20 people that'll come in, and of course, you know, the side that is against the Second Amendment, mostly they're playing on emotions and everything like that. You know, we've got people that will come in and say, you know, I lost this family member, or I myself was, you know, shot at, or whatever. And it's hard to debate that, because we're not insensitive. You know, I'm not any less outraged at the taking of innocent lives or innocent people getting wounded when some idiot does something bad. But just because I'm outraged doesn't mean that I want to see freedoms go away either. And it's really hard to draw that distinction, because we all get lumped into, well, if you don't think what I think, then you're a monster because you want the kids to die and you want everybody to have, you know, a machine gun to shoot kids with.
None of
us feel that way.
No, I agree.
One of the points that Matt was making in the Texas rally was, you know, we absolutely stand for our Second Amendment rights, but we, you know, at the same time, we also absolutely stand against these acts of violence. There's no place for them. But again, the solution to the problem isn't to take away the rights of the tens of millions of people who have never harmed a fly.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree completely. It's just,
you know, I would say that there's never been one recorded case in history of a responsible, law-abiding citizen using their gun to commit a crime. And the reason I say that is it's impossible. If you use your gun to commit a crime, you are no longer a responsible, law-abiding citizen. You are a criminal.
Yeah.
And we're worried about punishing the responsible, law-abiding citizens for what the criminals do. But those of us who do not commit crimes use our firearms, or hopefully never have to. But, you know, we want to have that option to protect ourselves against the people who will commit a crime. And if you do that, you're not a law-abiding citizen. So I don't see why nobody else can see what I see. But again, it takes all kinds, and that's the best part about this country, is we do have the option to debate this.
You hit that right on the head. Like I've had this conversation with some people. Is they're like, oh well, if everybody doesn't have this, then nobody will get hurt. I'm like, well, you fail to realize that as soon as you use something like that, you are no longer a law-abiding citizen. You are a criminal, and it's so difficult for some of these people to wrap their heads around that. and I don't understand it. I don't understand how people can be like, hey, this person's a normal law-abiding citizen until he walks into the bank with a gun demanding all the money. He is now immediately a criminal. Like, it's a mentality state instead of like a physical, like the person isn't born a criminal. And people don't understand that, and it's see how I see it is some people just think that people are apparently born as a criminal and they're just predestined to be a criminal. It's just like, no, you do criminal actions which make you a criminal.
Well, to a point. I mean, there could be people that have a true physiological chemical imbalance in their mind that causes them to do irrational things or to not have feelings of remorse. But I mean,
that may be true, but until they break the law, they're not a criminal.
Oh yes, no, I agree completely. Yeah. Yep. Man, I'll tell you what, it was an awesome experience overall, and I think that people need to stay active and adamant about what they do. You know, the big one that I think we need to watch out for is going to be your elected politicians, your people that you're looking at. You know, look at their track record, look at what they represent. You know, or do you want to maybe vote for a third party so you can start to change the status quo just a little bit? Try to get some support out there for a different party. I mean, you know, it is our responsibility from here on out to first of all make sure these rallies happen every year, and second to make sure that the representation we have is going to truly stand for our needs as gun owners, as legal law-abiding citizens and gun owners. You know, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. So I don't know. So where do we go from here? I guess the question is, I mean, we need to keep the train rolling. We need to educate those of us around us in our community. We need to get out there and just make it happen. So.
Yeah, here in New Jersey, it's about to get real tough because our governor now is, what's his name? Phil Murphy. He's like the most liberal loony you can potentially think of. I think he's a step higher than Feinstein. That's how bad. Like this guy just rambles on about nonsense stuff. Like there was I watched an interview with him and he was rambling on about like bayonets. It's like they're not even a problem. When was the last time somebody was running around with a stinking SKS with a long bayonet on it just stabbing people? Just like seriously, when? And
I'm more worried about the chainsaw bayonets at this point.
Oh God.
I know I'm about to buy a new one for Christmas. I better not have to go get a chainsaw permit. Man, that would just drive me nuts.
Is that going to be like
firefighters?
Is that an NFA item? Are we going to have to get a tax stamp to put the chainsaw underneath the forearm, or how's that going to work?
Is there going to be a minimum bar length for my chainsaw, so I don't have to get a tax stamp for a 14-inch bar versus a 16-inch bar on my saw? I mean,
what if you have like a 24-inch bar? What if you put a 24-inch chainsaw on an SBR? Then does that make it overall length long enough that it's no longer an SBR?
Furthermore, if I don't suppress that chainsaw, do you realize how loud that's going to be? I mean,
think of the children's hearing.
It'd be even funnier if you put an unsuppressed chainsaw underneath a suppressed barreled rifle.
Hashtag
now,
chainsaw.
The suppressed chainsaw runs off a 24-volt battery, so it's all good.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, plus it's green.
That's equivalent of airsoft, right? That's an airsoft gun. Is that what an electric chainsaw would be? No, I take that back. Those things are pretty wicked, man. Not to joke about it, but the crap the idiocy out there is just mind-blowing. The stuff that gets said, it's like, what rational person would think that you could mount a chainsaw? You could do it in video games, but maybe somebody did a YouTube video on it, and then some bozo person was researching it and found one person that did it. You mount anything you want to a rifle. My God, you can put a joust on there if you want to. You know what's that?
They prefaced that on the video, the official video, the real video from USA Today. They prefaced that with saying some of these are quite rare. If you look at that, if you watch that, it says some of these are quite rare, and then it goes on to say, chainsaw, bayonet, and I just about spit out what I was drinking at that point. But it has been great for the memes that have come afterwards.
I'm really surprised that they really didn't do the M203.
It's just unreal. I mean, I'm totally just speechless. I mean, to try to explain, then my mom calls, "Can you put a chainsaw on your AR?" I'm like, "Oh my God."
Oh God.
I mean, my mom is pro 2A. She knows guns very well because of my stepdad and my father also. You know, we were a firearms family, but I'm like,
I'm just, I'm really looking forward to finding
right now, Mama. You know, I mean, my God, I mean, seriously.
Water balloon.
The best ones I've seen since then. I love the fully operational battle station. I want a Death Star for mine.
Yeah.
And then the scariest one I saw was somebody actually took and mounted Hillary Clinton underneath the barrel of theirs. So
I've seen sharks with freaking laser beams too.
I'm curious what
Velociraptor.
and a lightsaber would be a fun one to get to.
Now, what you
that's a legit bayonet,
the AR-15 with the mini AR-15 underneath, and a smaller AR-15 with the chainsaw bayonet. That's my favorite.
Now we're gonna have to start.
You're gonna use this damn chainsaw for.
Well, you know, I might want to take some pot shots while I'm doing some tree trimming out in the woods. You know, I mean,
reaching clear.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, there you go. While I'm building the fort, I got to make sure that that I can keep everything. So we're gonna start chainsaw shaming each other based on the brands that we have hooked to the bottom of our ARs now. That so Still's going to be the equivalent of like SIG, and my Craftsman's going to be is the equivalent of a High Point. Is that where we're going?
Husqvarna.
I'm running.
Husqvarna is going to be kind of like a Smith and Wesson. That's what a Husky is. Yeah.
Homelight's the what do you call it? The
Ruger.
No, Homelight's the High Point.
Homelight's the High Point.
Homelight. I was thinking Poulin. No, Poulin would be the Jimenez. That'd be the Jimenez.
There you go.
Okay.
Husqvarna.
What would a Sky be? A Sky would be a chainsaw you buy at a garage sale that doesn't run.
No, that would be a hacksaw.
Hacksaw. It'll work if you finagle it just right. It'll cut through something at some point. But anyway, all right. So let's bring it back. Let's bring her back. All right. So preserve the 2A. All right. We all know what we need to do. If you didn't go to her, I think I'm energized for next year. If this is going to be planned for next year, I want to do more myself about getting the word out, especially in my neck of the woods, you know, getting a hold of the media, getting some PSAs up. A lot of our public service announcements, not Palmetto State Armories. We've got a couple of local radio stations that will announce community happenings. All I have to do is send them the information and they'll announce it on air, and they reach a huge part of the western part of our state, which is a small part of our, it's a small part of our overall population. But I'm motivated for next year. I know that. I hope it happens again on a Sunday or a Saturday. Maybe do a little bit sooner so it doesn't happen, during the first week of deer season in all these other states. But I think I think we're in a good spot to go on and continue doing what we're doing. The newspaper coverage in my neck of the woods, the Omaha World Herald, did an okay job covering it. They mentioned about what people talked about. I was really disappointed, and I want to call them out on this right now on live, okay? We had a woman that got up there. A gal got up there and talked about how she kind of evolved from just being a lady that carried pepper spray to getting some firearms training, getting her concealed carry permit. She is also a public school educator. She spoke before me, and it kind of threw me a curve. I was like, whoa, she's a teacher too. You know, I kind of made an immediate connection with her. And she had talked about how she feels like, and this is, just coming off the heels of the Texas shooting, how she feels like a fish in a barrel in her school. And she would like to see schools do a better job at looking at the idea of having armed teachers, because I know some states offer it. And what was interesting is she went on and she spoke for a good 4 or 5 minutes, and she made really strong points about what we need to protect our kids in our classrooms, okay? And the newspaper gave her a 1-sentence blurb, and it said, and a speaker spoke about wishing she could take her firearm legally to school. And that was it. I mean, the quote was that ridiculous. And I said, no, it wasn't like that at all. She was talking about the vulnerability of our kids and our teachers in schools because they don't have a right to conceal carry. If a school put the time into creating the policy and the structure and the thought and the discussion, every public school system could have a firearm policy that would allow its members to conceal carry with enough adequate training, with an idea as to what needs to be established. All right. My district has 600 pages of school board policy. There's room for a couple more that would allow us to protect ourselves in our classroom. And I'm just saying, I was angered when I saw how disrespectful the newspaper was in covering what she had to say, because I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, and then I felt like, man, maybe I should say something about being a school educator too, but I was trying to keep my job away from the issue at hand, but she had a very valid point. So I'm sorry to go off on this tangent, but it was really disappointing how they gave us some coverage. But when it came to her, it was just like, oh, and she wants to take her gun to school. It's like, what? No, that's not even what she said. That's not what it was about, So anyway, that's
a letter to the editor.
That's that. I probably should have. I mean, I think I should at this point, because, she was giving some really good support for it, because it can be done. Other states do it. It's not like we're the only state looking at the idea, And so, and furthermore, I'm working with members of our own church to allow our members to conceal carry because we have to have paperwork on file with the state patrol before we can allow it legally. And I know a lot of you guys say, well, you should just carry anyway. Your life depends on it. It's a pretty serious infraction if you do carry into a church concealed and it's not posted. Yes, death is a serious thing too if you're not carrying and somebody comes in and opens fire. But carrying into a church that's not marked in Nebraska is basically the equivalent of going into a hospital, government building, police department, post office. It's not, oh, we're going to ask you to leave. It can be an immediate loss of your firearms privileges in Nebraska, because a lot of guys are. Yeah.
That goes back to, again, we're responsible, law-abiding citizens, so our hands are tied. We can't carry. We can't carry in the places like a church, a hospital, an emergency room, a bank, any of those places. We know that we can't carry. So again, if you choose to ignore that law, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
I mean, that's the problem that I have too here in New Jersey. Is you're not allowed to carry, period, and even the security officers aren't even allowed to carry. They're not even allowed to carry tasers, and like,
wow,
churches in not in the best part of New Jersey. It backs up to Camden. If you guys. It is pretty much the highest crime rate city in the United States. Well, from my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not a very good part. And like, if we wanted to hire like a security, they'll have like I don't know, signs that say "Don't do that," and that's about it. Or hey, we'll tackle you if you do this. But that won't stop some guy off the street that illegally bought an AR-15 to just waltz right in and just gun down everybody, because our gun laws are just so ridiculous, and it's so difficult, and it rattles my brain every time I walk into that church.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just crazy, dude. It is nuts. I don't understand where the common sense is. There's no common sense there, and that's the problem with it, So I don't know, man. I'll tell you what, it's pretty interesting times. But again, we just do what we can. That's all we can do. So is definitely try to keep things rolling and try to keep the train moving, and try to keep things active, and make sure that you get in touch with those people that you met at those rallies, and keep in touch with people, and get out and network a little bit more. I told everybody that I knew about it. Where were you this weekend? Oh, I was at a Pro Firearms rally, Pro 2A rally. What? Yeah. And so I went and told everybody that I knew about it. I tried to post some coverage of it myself. I tried to post up some of the videos, and I got the speeches up there. If you guys want to watch Triple D rock the house, his speech is posted. My speech is posted. An interview with Trisha, NFOA president's posted up there. I did a little wrap-up video, and it was kind of funny. And naturally YouTube demonetized all of them, and when I appealed to it, they reversed all of them, which was good to know. So I guess YouTube is okay with me promoting constitutional rights and staying armed. So
I've got a couple more of those speeches still on my phone that I haven't posted yet, because I want to give credit to the speaker, and I don't have their names.
I asked Trish, and I'm sure she's pretty busy. As soon as I get them, we'll get those posted. Yeah, the author that spoke did an awesome job. The radio show hosted an awesome job.
Yeah, those are the two guys I need to get the names for. Everybody else I have posted with those two. I'm not going to post the other educator, just because when Trisha introduced her, she wouldn't even give her name. So I figure she wants a little anonymity. So I'm not going to put her speech up on YouTube, but I would love to, because I loved what she said. And yeah, it's so much more than what the World Herald reported on. It really got me when she said, if there was an active shooter situation in her school, she has one choice. She can tell her kids to get down on the ground or hide as best they can. And then if somebody comes in the door, she can say, please don't shoot us. And after they shoot her, she's not there to protect those kids that are in her classroom, and she has no way of doing it. And those are under her responsibility when they're in that room, and she has no way to be responsible for them in a situation like that. And that's really the point she was trying to drive home, is, she would love to be able to do something to protect all those little kids, because I'm not a teacher, but my wife, has a degree in education. She's been a teacher before, and I know how fiercely protective all of you are of your charges at that time, and you would do anything to protect them. And so, yeah, I just hate the feeling that her hands are tied, that your hands are tied when you're in your classroom or on the school campus. I think it's wrong.
I'm not going to criticize my district at all, because I think they do a really good job, and our school pulls off miracles with our kids, with the kids that we get, and where they're at 4 years later. We did a practice. Yeah, go ahead.
That's not to criticize any specific district.
Yeah, no.
It's the state law in general. So no, I understand the districts are doing everything they can, but again, the law is the law. So that's what I'd like to see changed.
And here's the deal. Anybody listening to this, anybody watching this, if you are on your school board, if you go to school board meetings, if you have kids in school, we had a practice run last spring where we practiced intruder in the building, and we went through all the steps and procedures. We got done. I was getting ready to resume class. One kid raised his hand and he goes, "What are we supposed to do if there's somebody that's trying to get into our classroom? What are we supposed to do if somebody gets in here with a gun?" The kid asked me the question. I'm like, "That's a good question." I said, "We will defend ourselves with whatever we can in this classroom." And, we had a short discussion on it because these kids were very concerned about it because they hadn't, that practice when we had the lights off, everybody was sitting around outside of the way from the windows and the door opened and we had the law enforcement come in and administration come in to check up on us. That kind of rattled them a little bit. And I mean, it was an interesting moment. I didn't have an answer for them. I didn't want to say, well, if I was allowed to carry, I didn't want to do that because that's not fair, because it needs to be done the right way if we're going to do it in our school district. So, when you got kids, if you have kids, push for that. Go to your school board, man. Right. Go talk to them. Just show up at a school board meeting, go on as a registered speaker and say, why aren't our teachers allowed to conceal carry? Why don't we have more security in our schools? Now, we have law enforcement in our building that is armed. I do feel safe. But I think that there's a lot that any school district could probably do, And I'm not going to go off on a teaching tangent here. I'm just saying, you guys got to have kids in school. Just think about, now I'm going to say this is one of those times, just do it for the children, but this is in the right kind of way. Okay, this is where you legitimately need to protect the kids that are in schools. I don't care if you're in a public school, a private school, whatever. You need to keep that in consideration when your kids go to school every day, because there's only so much we can do as unarmed educators in the classroom. But on that. All right, guys, anything else you'd like to wrap up with in terms of the rally? Anything else that you want to say? I think we'll go ahead and get ready to close it out. I need to get out to the range. I need to get things going here. I've got everything ready to go upstairs. AWAG, anything you want to say before we go ahead and part today?
Just don't give up at all. Don't even think about giving up. Like, hey, if there's going to be like one of those, what are they? Those like almost like meeting kind of deals that they have that they put in newspapers, super small print, that it's like, hey, we'll lower our taxes, but we have to give up this gun rate. Go to it and just like basically do what the left does to us. Just resist everything that they try to push.
Right on, man. That is definitely what it is. That's what it is. I'm telling you. All right. Jim, thank you for joining us today. What would you like to finish up with? Any important points you want to make before we go?
I think, I'm not sure. I think it's still stay on top of legislation, both locally and nationally and in the state, and just keep talking to your legislators. I don't think I can stress that enough. They don't know unless they know, and you might have some pretty solid pro 2A legislators, but at the same time, we're seeing people who were supposed to be pro Second Amendment caving on things. And someone you made the point about not the horse trading that goes on in politics, and it's not a whole lot of room for that when it comes to Second Amendment rights. A lot of it's been horse traded away already. So
yeah, it's supposed to be a non-negotiable. There should be absolutely no question about it whatsoever, and they dilly-dally around it and they give into their influences, and instead of representing what they're supposed to stand for.
Can I add a few things? Instead of don't let them take an inch, start taking inches back.
Absolutely. There's legislation out there. There's the SHARE Act, which is probably going nowhere. I think it's kind of died on the vine. But there are things like that, both nationally and on the state level that should be promoted. We've just had a discussion about what to do with arming teachers and some of these other things, and a lot of people react negatively to those things, but it's important to get the education out there.
I guess I would ask those parents, any parents out there that's opposed to it, who's gonna save your kid when there's an active shooter coming into that classroom where your child is sitting? Let's imagine for 1 second that that's going to happen. And I'm going to play out fear because this has happened. Shootings have happened. Okay, who's going to save your kid when they kick that door open and walk into the classroom?
Police. That's their job.
Who's you? In 2.5 minutes, that shooting's going to be over. The cops are just going to be showing up in time to take the bodies out. Who is going to help your kids? all I want to say. That's it. I'm just saying that is what it comes down to. You care about your kid for everything else. Okay, when they're in that classroom, don't just assume that locked glass doors are going to save those kids, right? Who's going to do it? And again, I'm sorry to get strong about this, but if it ever happens, I would feel really bad if it happened and I couldn't do something about it, whether it cost me my life or not.
Not to mention if it was public knowledge that there are armed, trained teachers, faculty, staff members in the building at all times. We don't know who, or we do know who because they open carry, whatever. We don't know how many or whatever, but anywhere in the building, you may meet a staff member who is armed, is trained, and has the authority to use it to protect the children. Suddenly that school is no longer a soft target. They're going to go to another soft target. So the deterrence alone, I'm always preaching deterrence. The deterrence alone, you need to have the ability to use that deterrence if it ever comes down to it. But that fighting chance is better than no chance at all. My son's high school is across the street from the police department. I don't think they could be there in 2.5 minutes. Seriously, around here, they just. And I went there. Was it 2 weeks ago? To go see the assistant principal, and I just walked right into the building, walked down the hall, walked into the office, and the secretary gave me the third degree. She goes, "How did you get in here?" And I said, "Through the open door, 3 doors down." "You're supposed to come in right through this door." I didn't see this door. I went through the open door.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't have stopped me if I had walked in there with a 12 gauge.
Yeah.
So.
And Sean makes a really good point over here. I'm at a relatively small school, but Sean said, some of these schools occupy 300,000 square feet. They take up multiple buildings. You have to walk outside to get from building to building. I mean, and I'm sorry that we have to talk about this as like a doom and gloom topic, but that is the reality. There's shootings that happen in schools every day, and I'm sure there's probably a lot that happen that we don't hear about. But I'm just saying that these things happen, and we need to be able to combat that reality. What else are you going to do?
So for a handful of police officers responding in their cruisers, even if they do have a shotgun or a rifle in there, they've got to get into the building. Yeah, it's a huge building. They don't know exactly where the threat is. Are there multiple threats? And somebody could argue, oh, well, if you've got armed teachers and the cops show up, they're going to think the teachers are bad. No, you can have the teachers train with the local law enforcement on how to deal with it after they've put the threat down. When the cops show up, what exactly to do or how to. I mean, there's always going to be a way to defeat any sort of measure or countermeasure. But the whole point is, if you want the bad guys to go, I'm not going in there, because the bad guys at the end of the day, they're cowards. They're nut jobs and they're cowards. They're probably not going to go in there if they know you're packing heat, Travis.
Well, and your teachers are told to stay in your classroom until you get it all clear. I'll stay in my classroom, but I'd rather do it with something to defend my kids.
Yeah, stay in the classroom, lock the door, and huddle in the corner. Oh, hell no. Get out. Get out of the building as fast as possible. Your biggest threat at that point is a cop car and ambulance running you over in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Now, there was one time where the kid pulled the fire alarm. All the kids ran out, and the other kid was hiding in the bushes and shot him up in the – so – once again, there's a way to defeat anything, but you have to look at your probability, your odds, and what usually ends up happening. What usually ends up happening is the person busts in, or they walk in an open door or whatnot, and then they go to town and everybody's hiding because they're scared. And there's so many people that don't understand guns, they don't understand laws, and they don't understand threats. How many people in this room have gone into, have cleared a building? I have. It's not easy. I mean, so it's not easy. The harder you make it for the attacker, the harder you also make it for law enforcement when they do respond. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that the average person doesn't understand. They put these ridiculous security doors on my son's elementary school, and I work in facilities. I could defeat that door with a 99-cent screwdriver from the hardware store. And they look at all this money we put into, and I'm like, do I just go ahead and pull out my Leatherman and pop this door open and show them that you just wasted a whole bunch of money on nothing? Or that's great. You've got a door. You've got 2 big windows on either side. I can take the butt of my shotgun, pop out the windows, step in. My biggest worry is getting cut. And then I'm in the building. Now what? So, I mean, just the average person doesn't think like that because maybe they don't have any law enforcement training, they don't have military training, they don't have any combat experience, they don't understand how guns really work, or it's a real hard thing to convey to people. I mean, and then when you start talking about it, they think you're a nut job. I'm not a nut job, but you sometimes have to look at what these people have done in the past, or you have to say, what would I do if it was me and I was going to be the bad guy? And you've got to try to outthink your opponent.
you know, and for those of us that are in the field that could possibly be exposed to that environment, we're the ones that want to speak out for support for us, you know, and it's just it's crazy sometimes. I don't know. Squibby, anything else you want to say about the two-way rallies at all? Any idea where we should go from here?
I'd just like to see more turnout next time. Let's let's learn from this, and let's try to use what we learned to make them work better next time. Otherwise,
Awesome.
I'm glad people went.
Yeah, definitely. It was cool to have a good turnout to some of these and to have people there and that share your ideas and stuff. And I think that's definitely a good thing.
Perhaps now's the time to start organizing the next one for like the spring.
Yeah, come up with some nice, come up with a list of people that you want to invite, your representatives, local organizations. If you got any local hunting groups, local gun organizations, if you have like an Isaac Walton out there, or, you know, you have a local branch of anything that's pro 2A or any pro constitutional groups. I mean, consider coming up with a good so you don't have, you know, just 5 days to pull it all off, so that you actually have a good amount of contact. You get a good amount of information out there in the media. Yeah, I don't think you can ever start too soon for the next rally, especially to get the idea out there and really promote it. Even if you only get double the people, I mean, it starts with that and then it grows. And I think that's probably the most important thing, you know.
Would you guys think about having like almost like a community like range day almost, or like a little sponsored
we do
the range like a fun shoot?
Yeah, Hornady puts on about every other year. They put on a free open to the public firearms day where they show off. You get to do cowboy action shooting. You get to shoot a bear at 50. They have a long range shooting contest the same day. They have mock 3-gun practice. Hornady brings out a lot of their weapons from their own private museum. They put a bunch of historically significant firearms. They set a tent up on it. They have lunch for everybody. So yeah, I mean that the big company steps up and does it. And of course, they're getting their advertising. They're getting to pass out their flyers and their information to the public, which is really cool. And that's just something our range organizes. They get that set up every couple of years, which is cool. So yeah, no, I mean, that's an awesome event to really get, because there's a lot of people I've run into a few people, Cabela's, and like, didn't I see you at that range day out there, you know, south of where you live? And I was like, yeah, were you there? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I remember you now. Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, a lot of people come in from all over the community for it. So they also have that. We also have go ahead.
If somebody could like organize like a nationwide like range day that you go to your a designated like local range or something that's in your area, and everybody just go out and like express your 2A rights, that'll bring a lot of people. Because I mean, I don't want to be like super mean or anything, but when people think of a 2A rally, they're like, oh, well, there's going to be people yelling at me. I don't feel like having people yell at me from this, that, the other thing. Whereas if you go to a range day, you're around people that love the same things that you do, and it'll probably drive and accumulate more people.
I think both are important. The range day, you're right. That's definitely going to draw a lot of people. I think the rally is also important because we don't only want to preach to the choir.
Right, and also I'll use the Texas rally as an example. The message was very positive, and you know I saw some Instagram footage of, I think it was the Maryland rally.
Yeah, I saw the Maryland,
where people were all up like yelling faces. You know, that's not the kind of rally that we need to want to have.
That becomes a protest. And that's not what we're about, man. Yeah.
Right. So if we don't keep it positive, you know, it's just going to turn off. It's going to turn off gun owners, much less people who are on the fence or rabidly anti. I mean, you're not going to win the antis anyway, but if you want to win people that are on the fence and try to educate them, and you don't get out there with a positive message,
the last thing that we want to do is come across like the Westboro Baptist Church, you know, with their anti-abortion things and things like that. I am pro-life, but I definitely don't want to use their tactics or be associated with them.
Right.
Yep, there you go. Tony, moving on to you, man. Anything you want to say about this? Just kind of in hindsight, now that the rallies are done for the year, or just done at this moment? What do you want to say?
I've already butted in and said all I need to say.
I know, man. Get going now, man. Get started on it now. Get organizing now. Start to come up with a battle plan, so to speak, of how to get the word out about next year's rally. You know, apply for your permit now, so you have it. So there's no delay in waiting for paperwork to get processed, and know where people are going to be able to set up, acquire all the provisions you need, you know, your sound system, start to line up your speakers.
Well, like
Still
I
a little
say,
bit at a time. Yeah.
We're going to have an organized one set up already in the spring.
Cool.
That's an annual thing here.
That's awesome, man.
I don't know when it is yet. And as soon as I find out, I will start putting that information out on gun channels and see about getting something more widespread going.
Tony, I might have to road trip out there in the spring. If it happens during my school spring break, man, I'm there. That would be sweet. I love to travel, man. I love to get out and travel. It's awesome.
It's like the first or second week of March.
Ooh, nice. Very cool, man. Very cool.
It's early enough that weather can still be iffy, which is kind of silly from the way I think. Wow. But you know, this is done by, so I got nothing to say about that one. Dano and I both intend to go, and I'm going to try to get others that were interested in the one that we just did to go ahead and come out and try to get a bigger gun channels contingent together at this thing and try to network some.
We need to do an east-west, like having Arizona and Illinois, because so many of the gun channels members are out in Arizona, California, Nevada. It'd be cool to have kind of a one side represented at one time period and one side represented at the other, so people can travel to whatever they're closest to. I mean, that would just be awesome.
And as far as general stuff, I intend to start going through various state versions of their quote Second Amendment. Is not the second in most states, because when I started researching this, it was very surprising what I found.
Yeah.
On the early watch, I mean, so I'm going to start doing that to coincide with our U.S. Constitution thing we're doing. So, you know, check us out.
You know, I think that it's something that if we can make it happen and there's enough guys on gun channels and get the whole crew together and get everything established, I think we can definitely pull off some big things. I mean, and I know this is sad but true, but it seems like the gun channels family, the whole gun channels crew, everybody on gunchannels.com, I'm going to brag. I think we did more to promote these rallies in media, YouTube, Facebook, than any of these other big channels on YouTube. Now, we don't need to go off on the big channels, but these multi-million sub channels, I was furious that some of the channels that I was subscribed to, they were featuring gun reviews on Second Amendment Day. They were featuring new products that are coming out, but a lot of them did not come out with just a, hey, go to a 2A rally today, support the cause, thank you. It was promoting their product, promoting their brand, promoting what keeps their advertisers happy. And that's sickening, and I unsubbed to quite a few channels that day, actually.
So far as I know, Hickok himself actually went to the Tennessee one.
Yeah, I believe that he was there. I don't know if his son was there also. I know Matt was saying that he was going to do something, all right? But a lot of the channels of these guys that you know, and a few people couldn't because their channels got struck down by YouTube, and I get it, but a lot of the subs that I had, I mean, did they not know that there was a rally going on today? Did they not know the one right that we have that allows them to keep pushing their job, their industry, their brand?
My thing is
an issue.
If they didn't want to say that they were going to the rally because they didn't want to get mobbed, you're a big channel. You're going to get mobbed. You're going to have to sign autographs. You're going to want people to take pictures. You know what? For one day, for the cause, you know, you'll do it when you're at a sponsored event. When you have your sponsor paying for you to travel out there and putting you in a hotel and having somebody drive you around and feeding you and stuff, you're going to take all the pictures because the sponsor's going to be like, people are showing up because you're here. I'm paying you. Sign the damn autograph and take the picture. So when you decide to do it and you're not getting paid, you know, I mean, there could be a little bit of, hey man, this is my day off, I just want to, but if you're really for the cause, this is where it's putting your money where your mouth is. This is where, don't worry about how you make your money, whether it's off of YouTube or off of a sponsor or off of Patreon or whatever. This is about saying, look, you guys can say whatever you want about how I earn my money, but here's where I prove that I'm pro 2A. I announced it on my channel. I didn't get paid for it. I showed up. I had to take 150 damn selfies, but we got 150 more people out there that day. You know what I mean?
You know, furthermore, I don't let people that lend me products to try out on my channel, I don't let them dictate my terms of how I'm going to enjoy my constitutional rights. They're going to tell me, you can't go to the rally because it's not good to the brand. I'm going to be like, I don't think we can do business anymore. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's friggin' for giving me a pickup truck to drive to the rally, saying you shouldn't go because we don't want to get in, we don't want to dabble in controversial. It's bad enough that my videos get flagged by YouTube, you know, because they don't like my controversial topics, my constitutional rights, which we all have. I'm not going to let them dictate what I can and cannot do. So I don't understand the mentality of some of these big channels that have millions and millions of subs, pro-gun people, gun fanatics, gun owners, not taking part in it. And like I said, I did my part by unsubscribing. I unsubscribed from about a dozen different channels last weekend. I went through it. I looked at their feed. If they didn't mention anything over a week, I unsubbed. Done. I'm not going to waste my time with you. If you're not going to, this is a non-negotiable. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how big your channel is. I don't care who's giving you money to do reviews or who's giving you products, setting up the terms. They have no right to tell you. I don't care if you're taking their money. They have no right to tell you what your constitutional rights are.
Right, you're just there as a citizen. You're not there.
Yes.
Okay, so while you're there, you don't talk about your sponsor. While you're there, you don't talk about your channel, or you don't, whatever it is that you're contractually obligated. But otherwise, your right as a citizen to peacefully assemble is that's all you're doing. So if you mention it, you know, for all the people out there that are getting critical of other people, or those people that are getting critical back, by announcing it on your channel with your 1.5 million subs, and then showing up and then putting up with all the fanfare. You're proving, no matter what anybody wants to say about how you earn your money, that you really are pro 2A. So put your money where your mouth is.
Yes, I mean, I don't. And why are the companies and corporate interests going to care? That is your consumer base. That's free exposure. That's free advertising for you. Who cares? I don't. I'm just totally. That are these people. You know what?
Patches.
That or these people are just downright lazy and didn't want to click with the mouse, didn't want to put a little entry up, didn't want to film a little 30-second snippet with their video because apparently they had other more important things going on. And that's, like I said, I feel like gun channels, the members there did their part to promote it. We were there pushing it. We were there promoting it. And it was a disappointment because I've been a fan of these channels forever. These are channels that inspired me to make videos, but they do nothing to support the cause. And for that, I am completely dumbfounded. That's all I got to say. This has been an angry rant day. I'm going to put Travis P11 gets angry in the headlines on this one. This is me angry. This is me frustrated and not understanding human beings. Okay, this is what it comes down to. So, John, on a lighter note, you want to finish up with anything? Anything you'd like to say, man? What do people need to know?
Just a couple things. First of all, we're in Nebraska. This is game day, and people can hate all they want, but I still bleed red. So go Big Red. Second of all, and even more importantly, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the veterans that are hearing this. We appreciate you 365 days out of the year, even though you only have one day that's named for you. But I do appreciate all the sacrifices that all of our veterans have made so that I can be on this YouTube post right now. And then last but not least, I just want to say thanks to my very cool boss for not caring that I had this running. And I'm doing work as I listen and as I chime in here. But he was cool enough not to, make me opt out of this and then hang it up. So that was pretty cool of him too. So thanks, Troy.
Which makes me want to switch to your cell phone company even more than I already do.
You hear that, Troy?
This company is Pro 2A, and you should be too. There you go. There you go. How about a discount for Gun Channels members? Because we're going to be, how about that?
Man, and here's the thing. I'm not going to name my company because I don't know what their policy is. I don't want this to ever become an issue, and I don't ever want somebody saying, hey, we should start posting signs on our doors. So we're going to have some serious issues if that ever happens. So I'm not going to name my company because I don't know for sure that they are Pro 2A, and sometimes we'll just leave well enough alone. But it is pretty cool. And anybody that is in northeastern Nebraska, if you're looking for some cell phone stuff, get a hold of Travis. He'll get a hold of me for you, and he'll put you in touch with me. How about that?
Yep, there we go. There we go. So good stuff, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I am just itching to get out to the range today. It's actually not snowing or raining, so I want to get out and do that. I'm going to be taking a pistol out, and then tomorrow I'm going to do this little side are we on? This little AR pistol over here. You can't really see it, but my PSA. I'm going to do a range test on that tomorrow. I'm taking a SIG out today to go have some fun, a little SP 2009. So I'm excited for today. Hopefully then Triple D, I will get in touch with you about a January deer hunt if I decide to go that route. I mean, I've got everything basically ready to go. I just need to get off my butt and go.
Just make that decision quick because we don't always sell out of permits for that, but that's usually one that does get sold out eventually. Maybe by the end of next week, you might not get that permit. It's not a draw unit. It's a just a purchase unit, but get in there and do it. So
I'm going to talk to my dad and talk to him about it and see if he'd want to go maybe halvesies on 50-50 on splitting the harvest and stuff, and looking at what we can do to get a process and stuff. So it's anyway, guys, yeah, so thank you so much. So over here on the gun channel side, we had quite a few members join in today. Again, so shout out on the gun channel side to yesterday's Pomade, Gary, you guys that are with me here. Number 2 was with us. Tony was out there. Tony was here. Patrick, Squibby, Jelsma Outdoors. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us. Patrick, again, thank you for joining us. Grim90, you were one of the first guys to show up. Other Travis, thank you for being there and here. Philo pointed out some pretty interesting things today. Thank you for joining us. Foulmouth Actual. Jim's with us. Sean's out there. Man, I got a whole list of people going on. You guys know who you are. Not that I want to miss anybody, but thank you guys all for joining in. Jorge, thanks for joining us today. It's always cool to have you here. Our RL Sewer was here, which was very cool, pointing out some good stuff. You guys are all awesome. I want to thank you for watching, getting up early on a Saturday morning and listening to me babble for a couple hours. It's been cool. Car Carrier, always good to hear from you too. Yes, and that's a good point. We need to get out and get those chainsaws now before they become an NFA item. Go out there. If you've been on the wire about whether or not to go get that chainsaw, now is the time to act. You must buy that chainsaw. Go to Sears this weekend. Go to your local hardware store. Support them. Purchase locally. Get that chainsaw. And
what about the Death Star? Can I get grandfathered in for a Death Star?
I think so. I think there's still time to file for a permit. I think so. Oh my God. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining in today. Again, this was our Preserve the Second Amendment. Where do we go from here discussion. Hopefully you guys got something out of this today. I hope you see what some of our passions are. Know that we're with you guys that are out here watching and listening. We are on your side. We're all on the same team. That's the important thing to keep in mind. Hopefully I'll have another Caliber Corner next Saturday. It's going to be hard for Thanksgiving with family coming up and people coming out, us doing 2 Thanksgivings. I might not have one Thanksgiving Day. I might maybe do a quick one in the morning before all the meals and food and stuff is ready for our family. But anyway, thank you, panel, for joining us. Thank you, gunchannels.com, for hosting us also. Guys, don't forget, you can check me out over on VidMe also. My channel's Travis P11. And I might start looking at some other multimedia platforms to share on too. I'm over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So I think that's it, guys. All right, so this was Caliber Corner number 19. My thank you to the panel. My thank you to the guests. You guys have an awesome weekend. Good luck with your deer hunt if you're going to be going out this weekend. Let's hope for a successful harvest. And I think that's it. So we will talk to you next week, guys. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye,
Good
Felicia.
day,
We got to
everybody.
get her goodbyes in there. Get her goodbyes in there.
Thanks for having me.
Peace out. All right, talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining.